Okay, so this is our lecture for Chapter 6, Structural Analysis, ang last na chapter for our midterm exam. So the structures here that we are going to consider are three. So trusses, frames, and machines. So these structures, we are going to analyze them by determining the forces in the members of these different structures. So we are to begin with truss. So ano ba yung truss? A truss is a structure composed of slender members joined together at their endpoints. So itong mga trusses natin could be made up of timber, pwede rin na steel. In particular, yung mga nakikita natin na trusses, ang usual, nakikita natin sila in roofs. So there are trusses in roofs and also bridges. So example is ito sa roof truss. So yung truss natin, which is ito, in the one side, and on the other side, this one. So it is used to support the roof. Now, itong roof kasi, from the load that is going to the roof, ito-transmit ng roof yung load dito sa mga purlins natin. Itong horizontal members. Then, these purlins, ito-transmit naman yung load sa ating truss. Particularly, as we will learn later on, doon nila tinatransfer sa joints ng ating mga trusses. Now, since na-transmit ng purlins dito in the joints yung mga forces or loads, we can actually analyze this plane here, which is just the same dito sa other side as a planar truss. So this one, this is our roof truss na ngayon acting on the single plane lang lahat ng mga forces natin. So ito yung mga sa reactions of the pin, then sa roller, and this will be coming from the purlin na isa, purlin na pangalawa, okay, pangatlo, pang-apat, nandoon sa taas. So planar truss na yan. So in this figure daw, yung kanina, again, the roof load is transmitted to the truss at the joints by means of a series of purlins. Since this loading acts in the same plane as the truss, the analysis of the force developed in the truss members will be two-dimensional. Two-dimensional yung analysis muna natin. Okay, next. Another usual structure kung saan makikita natin yung mga trusses is sa bridge. So this is a truss supporting the this is a bridge truss. So as you can see, etong truss natin, ito on this side, made up of slender members. This one, okay. Now, this is used to carry the load coming from the bridge. Firstly, doon sa deck. So dito sa deck, siya yung magke-carry ng any moving loads coming from pwede yung mga trucks, bicycles, or ano man na dumadaan dito. So any moving loads. So the load that will be coming from these moving loads will be transmitted to the deck. And then yung deck, yung load na nakuha niya, iti-transmit niya naman sa saan? Sa stringers. So, eto yung mga stringers natin. This green one. Okay, yang ayan. Now, after makarry ng stringers, yung load naman will be transmitted to the saan na siya? To the floor beams. So, i-transmit naman dito sa mga floor beams. So, meron dyan, dito, tsaka dito, dyan. Okay, yung from floor beams naman, i-transmit niya naman sa joints of the two supporting side trusses. I-transmit niya naman sa mga joints coming from the truss. Now, as you can see, ang nangyari, the truss, eto, same lang doon siya sa likod, can be analyzed as coplanar or two-dimensional as seen in this figure. No? Ito na yung naging FBD natin for the truss. So from here, naging ganito na siya. So this is our truss, and then these are the forces coming from the reaction, and this is the load na na-transmit doon sa joints natin coming from the deck, pumunta sa stringer to the floor beam. Also this one, and this one will be coming from the roller. Yan yung reaction from the roller support. So ganun siya. Now, may mga assumptions tayo kailangan nating i-assume in order to design both the members and connections of a truss. We need first to determine the force developed in each member when the truss is subjected to a given loading. And to do this, we will make two important assumptions. First assumption is that lahat ng loadings are applied at the joints. Lahat ng loadings are applied to the joints. In most situations, such as for bridge and roof trusses, this assumption is true. Frequently, the weight of the member is neglected because the force supported by each member is usually much larger than its weight. Now, if hindi natin i-neglect yung weight ng members, so let's say ito yung member natin, if hindi natin i-neglect, but according to this one, frequently, ni-neglect yung weight ng member because yung weight ng member natin is very small compared to the weight na i-carry ng joint natin. Okay, so if hindi siya i-neglect, i-consider daw siya, so hindi siya mag-a-act dito sa center of the member. Hindi daw ganun. So it will be acting daw sa joints and then divided by 2 or half ang magnitude applied at each end of the member. So if this is the isang end of the member, nandito naman yung isang end. So this is weight over 2 and weight over 2. So hindi on the center. Nandun pa rin siya sa joint. That's an assumption we have to make. Then pangalawang assumption, the members are joined together by smooth pins. So in actually the joint connections are usually formed by bolting or welding the ends of the members to a common plate called a gusset plate, such as what you can see in this figure. No? or by simply passing a large bolt or pin through each of the members. So as you can see, ito yung tinutukoy niya dyan. Pwedeng using a gusset plate or a large bolt or pin through each of the members. Now, pwede nating i-assume na itong mga connections na sinabi sa taas acts as pins provided that yung center lines of the joining members are concurrent. For example, ito. The joining members daw, the center lines of the joining members are concurrent. So if this is the center line of the member, so they meet at a certain point, so they are concurrent. So if that's the case, we can assume that the connection is a pin connection. Next, because of these two assumptions, each truss will act as a two-force member. Because of these two assumptions, kung saan lahat ng loadings are acting at the joints and they are joined together by smooth pins, each member will act as a two-force member, and therefore the force acting at each end of the member will be directed along the axis of the member. So if meron tayong member, so if this is the first end ng isang end ng member natin, so this is yung joint 1 and then this is the joint 2. So yung forces natin will be acting on this joint. So either tension or compression. And making this member as a two-force member. And yung member na yan is acting along the axis of the member. Yan, along the axis of the member. Now, if the force tends to elongate the member, so it is a tensile force such as this one, so directed away from the member, as you can see, away from the joint. Ito yung joint, so away siya, papunta doon. Ito rin, papunta dyan. So if that's the case, it tends to elongate the member, thus it is a tensile force. Whereas, if this is our member, then ito yung joint natin, ang nag-act sa kanya are these two forces. So makikita natin that it is acting towards the joint. And the effect of this is sino-shorten niya yung, it tends to shorten the member. So if that is the case, our force here is compressive. Now, sa trusses, in the analysis of trusses and the design, kailangan talaga ma-indicate natin kung ano ba yung nature ng force doon sa member natin. Tensile ba siya or compressive? No, kailangan. Kasi usually, magkaiba yung sa design ng tensile member at saka compressive member. Sa compressive member or compression members, mas makapal yung ginagamit na thickness than in tension members because there are possibilities na mag-buckle ang column natin due to compression. So, mas pinapakapal yung sa compression kaysa sa tension. So, i-cut ko muna to.